What's up everyone, this is Linares with the Sam Villa ArTeam. I've been cutting layers a long time, but at the beginning, a lot of times my guests would return to me and say, my layers feel great on the right side, but on the left, sometimes they get a little bit chunky. Sometimes they look like a little bit steppy in the hair. You know, for years I pondered it, attempted to perfect my movements, my cutting mechanics, and the same thing would still happen. So I finally took it up the mountain to the Sam Villa ArTeam, and here's what we discovered. What we discovered is when point cutting hair, every time we close the shear, a small angle is created at the end of that subsection. So in my layered cuts, I was working vertically without over direction, and I would always stand at the center back of her head. That way I could look at her and talk in the mirror. And when I would elevate up vertically and begin to point cut, a small angle, short to long, is created every time I do that. And you can see those lines indicated right there. Now watch what happens as I release this back to natural fall. Look at those little points begin to meld together so nicely, leaving a very smooth appearance to the outside of the layer and the silhouette, not too heavy. Now if I remain at center back and go to the other side of the head, nothing really changes about what I'm doing. I elevate vertically without over direction, bring everything up, my hand enters from the right side, and I point cut. But notice that the angles move in exactly the same direction as they did on the right-hand side, short to long going this way. The only difference here is, the wild card, is that the hair is being released on the other side of the head. Watch what happens. As I bring these layers down, those two pieces that seemed so far apart at the beginning are now sitting almost exactly on top of each other, thereby revealing these heavy lines in the silhouette of my layered cut. So what's the solution here? Number one, we either need to move our body or hers to keep ourselves in that perfect position, meaning if I start on the right-hand side, I make my cuts, then I will either need to move around her or I can turn my salon chair to take myself to the next section. Until I cross that center line, and then I'll be standing on her front left side, but when I elevate my section up, it's going to be allowing me to keep the same angles as I did on the right-hand side. So the shear will be going in at the same. Leaving those same angles that give us the results that we're looking for as it collapses in natural fall. Another way would be, if I like to remain at center back, is I'm going to need to change the entry angle of my shear. So if I'm on the right-hand side, I already know what I was doing there. When I get to the left-hand side, I'll need to make something different about the shear. So I'll need to find a way to either using my 7-inch swivel to get around that to get the angles that I want, or hyperextending my shoulder to let me in there that way. Both are a little uncomfortable. Ultimately, gang, it's up to you. You're going to make the call in the moment about where she's able to move, where you're able to move, but the knowledge of that missing element, you apply that in your own world of hair. And that was just one example. Think about how the entry angle of that shear might be affecting our work every time we point cut a perimeter. Once we cross that center line, something might change. Every time that we just elevate hair generally and point cut, think about that entry angle of the shear and what it might be doing for you or against you. Thanks again, guys. This is Linares with the Sam Villa ArTeam. See you guys on the road and on the internet.